Hello, hello, hello. God bless you. Welcome to Let's Spark Some Conversation, episode 7, How to Overcome Generational Barriers. As you can see here, I have my guest co-host, my son, Sean Ramos.
Hello.
So as you know, for season 1, we have been talking about a variety of different topics. And tonight, I believe that this is such a beneficial topic for all generations, right? How do we collaborate one with another? How do we cross over these different barriers so that we can truly be in unity and to work together and leave a lasting legacy? Now, here for our Let's Spark Some Conversation, you know what it is. We talk about transparency, hope, restoration, having an overcomer's mindset in all things wellness. I want you to do me a favor and just go ahead and write in the chat, hello, how are you doing? For those of you who are watching via YouTube or the Women Develop Growth Network, I'll be able to see your face or your name if you are commenting from YouTube, but through the group, I may just see Facebook user. But I want you to go ahead and just comment and let me know that you're out there watching and that you are interested in hearing what's going on tonight. So you could just give me a wave or a hello or a God bless you. But tonight, I'm excited about this. This young man here, we have gone through, just a lot to overcome within our relationship and to build it to where we are right now. So I first want to say thank you so much, Sean, for saying yes to being one of my guest co-hosts within this season 1.
When I heard I had a chance to be on a panel with my mom, I could have passed that up. So of course I was all gung ho. I'm like, yeah, of course, why not? So I'm excited to be here, excited to spark up some conversation, and thank you all for having me too.
Absolutely. So tonight, as I stated, we're going to be talking about let's spark some conversation with the generations and how we overcome these different barriers. Now, we're going to be transparent and let you into our relationship, because everything has not always been perfect. Everything has not been peaches and cream. Everything has not been yes, mom, and yes, son. We have not had agreements.
I don't think any mother-son relationship is extremely perfect to that extent. So
No, not at all. So tonight, we're just, like I said, we're sparking conversation. We're going to be talking. If there is something that you want to know, from kicking it old school, you see my shirt here, right? Kicking it old school. If you have any questions out there, please use the comment. If you come back to watch the replay, put it in the comment. I will be more than happy to answer any questions that you have. But we're going to spark this conversation off with, and I'm going to ask you this question, Sean. So what are some of the unique challenges that you believe that the younger generation face in today's world compared to any other generation?
Challenges we face, I feel like the biggest challenge, and that's definitely for unlike people who use like TikTok and Instagram all the time, is everybody is watching you. You know, I know for older generations, it may have been like the standard of having to live up to maybe your parents or your grandparents, but now it's as if you're trying to live up to the standard of these celebrities, or you're trying to live up to the standard of what society deems a person. I know that one big thing that even some of my friends who are girls struggle with too is just body image, where they may go on Instagram or they may go on TikTok and see these girls who look unrealistically beautiful with all these augmentations and now feel that they have to now live up to that. You know what I mean? So that's what I think one of the biggest challenges is that it's not really only you trying to live up to the, let's say, quote, for lack of a better word, shadow of your parents or your grandparents or other family members, but now you are trying to live up to what the world may deem as beautiful or what the world may deem as smart. Even.
That's good. And I want to say that's like almost a crossing of a barrier, a challenge that we as the older generation may be experiencing, also being a part of that same community. Because when you think about social media, it's out there for everyone.
Right.
So now with the mindset, but being the younger generation, being more pliable to go in that direction and say, hey, I got the likes, right?
Mhm.
That I have people that are commenting. And so what happens is now you produce more content. You produce more videos, and then you overstep and say, well, you know what? They like me, but it's not an actual like, if that makes sense.
They like you. They don't like you. And that's what I think too is something different too with the older generations, you know, like Y2K and things like that. A lot of these,
Look, I done raised the roof.
Man, a lot of these people were already, let's say, like 2000, you were like 20 something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's just say 20 something.
20 something, right?
Y2K.
These people are already adults. They're already established. But now, when it's these people like me, I'm 2006. I think I'm Gen Z.
You're Gen Z.
Anyway.
You have a beautiful generation.
Okay. Let's put it that way. Anyway, these people now, we're like, I'm growing up with social media. So when I'm in like 5th, 6th grade, I'm like, okay, this is what I have to do, right? This is what I have to be. While you may be like, and now while I'm not saying that people who are older don't struggle with this as well, while you may be older, you may have that image of yourself to say, all right, this may seem a little childish to have to go out of my way to do something that even may put myself in danger, or may tarnish my image just for a couple likes or just for a couple shares.
Right. And so that's where that is very good, because you find all of these different challenges that a lot of the younger generation trying to keep up with technology. Exactly. So I like to say that when it comes to a generational barrier, that's a technological divide.
And I think now these sort of quote challenges or even just trends as well, while they maybe seem as like harmless and it's like, oh, it's just something that I'm doing. I mean, a lot of people in this day and age aren't familiar with something called digital footprint, which it means that
I was about to say, please explain.
Everything that you do on the internet is logged. Doesn't matter if you said something in a comment anonymously. Doesn't matter if you posted this little video of you doing a little dance. When you go to, let's say, colleges or employers, people will pull that up from you.
So even if you post something and you delete it,
it is out there. It is logged. And that's one thing too, where these trends or these challenges now, when you do that, and not only do you put your life in danger, but you can put your like physical life in danger. You can also put your reputation in danger. Because let's say you want to do a little challenge with a little song that may have a little bit of expletives in it. Now, when employers see that, they're going to say, oh, okay, this is a reflection of you. We don't think we want that in our company. So That's why I personally stayed away from those type of challenges, because I just feel like, digital footprint is going to end up catching up to me if I ever did. So let's say if I make like a little dance TikTok with my sister, I mean, I keep that to myself, because those are little memories, and I get that. That's another thing too with this generation. And I'm sorry, I don't.
No, I'm listening. No, please. I love that you are speaking, and there is a passion that you have concerning this. And I want us to interject here, but please keep your thought. Anyone who knows Sean always says, "Oh, he's an old soul."
Yeah, that's true. That is a little true.
They say he's an old soul. He has such a passion and at heart for just, when I say doing the right thing, don't always make the right choices, right? None of us do.
Thanks.
But you have a good head on your shoulders. So I thank you for that. But go ahead.
Cool. Like I was saying, memories, right? A lot of people now are using social media, let's say, for memories or for to commemorate things that may have happened and even save it for the future for, let's say, their kids and their kids' kids. But
Mhm.
another thing that may be a little different with that is people skew the definition of wanting to save memories and wanting attention for those memories. Where now people may
Wow,
post,
that's good. Can you say that one more time?
where people skew the definition of wanting to save the memories and wanting attention for those memories. Like
Somebody put flames in the chat right there. That was good.
that was a gem.
Because that was a gem. Wanting attention for the memories as opposed to just saving them as a memory. That's good.
Because now people put, and I know we have all been there, so I know you've been there, where we now see the most personal aspects of people's lives. Like you see things that you would keep to yourself. You'd be like, that's a little personal. And now
TMI moments.
Oh, I forgot the term for that. See, you got that. But yeah, TMI moments, too much information. Where now people are posting these little details that normally you keep to yourself, and you think, okay. I mean, there's certain things where you can remember that, yeah, but it might be a little personal. And people really do that because, I mean, vulnerability is a huge aspect in today's society that can get you a lot of likes, but it's not worth it.
Right. And so now with that generational divide, right, and being able to overcome that barrier. So from my generation, I will look and I will say, but again, Sean's an old soul, but you can speak some things for your generation. And I want to put that out there. We're not speaking for the entire generation, but we know our generations and what we grew up in, right?
I'm an old soul, but I know everything new too.
Right. So he's like Pulp Fiction and all that stuff. But nevertheless, within my generation, I'm looking at these things and I am speaking that to say what you just talked about, a digital footprint. You have to be mindful of what it is that you're putting out there. Your integrity, who you are, the reputation. But a lot of people or the younger generation say, oh, it's just fun. Everybody's doing it.
Right.
So how can we now bridge that gap to say, you know what, I will be able to receive it from a younger generation. And then as the older generation is putting it out, would it be the communication aspect as to how it is said? Or do you think it doesn't matter how it's said, if that phase has to pass or that wave have to go by in order for the younger generation to
Because I think it is a little bit of both, where communication, even just with your child about what a digital footprint is very, very crucial in today's society. But then again, these trends and challenges go away fast. Well, sadly, they do end up kind of sometimes being fatal, especially with a lot of people doing challenges that put their lives in danger. When you educate, let's say the younger generation, I'm speaking now to the older generation. When you educate the younger generation on what the dangers of, I guess, posting freely could do to them in the future, because there are some people who have full ride scholarships to, let's say, Harvard, but because of one bad video, now it's all ruined. And I mean, I hate seeing stories like that, because that people worked hard to get there, but one little slip up can mess up everything.
Right. So technology, I guess it has its pros and cons.
I was just going to say, it's like a blessing and a curse, where it keeps people together, but it can also tear things apart.
It can tear things apart. And so I have one of our users had commented on the question pretty much about the younger generation as well as the older generation challenges. And I want to list those, and maybe we can have some dialogue concerning that. And the question that was posed was, what are some of the biggest barriers / challenges that you find in the older and younger generations? And the comment was, in the younger generation, here are a couple of challenges. They're dating at this time. There's a lot of peer pressure. Church, why do I have to attend? Right? They have multiple questions now about that. And I think this is a great topic to also discuss. Vaping, marijuana, sex. And then you have the older generation challenges, talking about their teens dating. What age is appropriate to date? What does that even look like? What boundaries you're going to set and how dating should look. And then they're also talking about being single and having the empty nest. So those are the different challenges that the older generation are dealing with. But let us talk about the younger generation for a second before we get into the older generation. So when you're talking about dating, now we can talk about our own personal situations, right?
I know I got a lot. So.
Because I said this, and I said, all right, this may be a different time, but have any parents out there had conversations with their children about dating? You're saying, look, I seen the type. I know the type. Stay away from the type. Your heart's going to get broken. I'm telling you. And so it's like you just saying the same thing over and over and over again. But they're like, well, let me learn. Mom. And you want to really say, I told you so, but you accept them in. But I'm learning that with dating, I'm going to let you talk about this before I go so deep into it.
All right, dating. Dating is, a big thing in my generation, especially because about all of my generation and just about human beings in general, we want attention all the time. It's why social media was invented. It's why social media does what it does, so that you can have that attention per se. So now,
real quick, I just want to interject. Is everyone able to hear us out there and see us? Is there a faultiness in the connection? I want to make sure that you're able to hear Sean as well as myself as we are speaking. So if you can see and hear us, great. Please, give us a thumbs up. If you're able to see and hear us, please give us a thumbs up. Thank you. All right.
Okay. So, a lot of people in this generation, my generation, want attention. So now when it goes from looking for attention in other people, now it goes to looking for attention in one person. And another thing too that a lot of people don't talk about is that when those two conflict, it's really bad. I'm not gonna lie. Because now you have these people that are, let's say, dedicate themselves to one person, but now because they're with them for the wrong reasons, or the reason of attention, now they may get mixed up with the social media aspect where now they're going to other people or they're posting personal things about their dating life where someone can be saying like, hey, I thought we connected on a personal level. That's some of my business out there, But because of that attention that's driving them, they're going to disregard other people's feelings but their own.
Mm-hmm.
So dating today is a lot different than it was before, because you may think that people are dating today because they love each other, but most of the time it's because, oh, hey, I can get attention out of this person. And sadly, that's how it's become.
So it's based off attention as opposed to you really liking the person.
Exactly. For example, me and my mom were in the car driving, having a discussion about this the other day. It's okay if I just share that.
Listen, right? Please. That's why I said transparency.
We're talking about the meaning of the word love. And could you, repeat your definition of what love is?
I'm not for sure. You have to.
Like you had told me the other day that when you really love a person, it's unconditional. It's a connection between two different people, right? But when I thought of love, it was just like a word that you say to someone that you like really much, Wow, excuse me, that you like a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I think also that brings us to another generational disconnect where certain terms that we may think of may be different to them.
Yes. And see, I'm about to go into a whole nother thing just for a second. How is it language wise? Y'all take so much. First, y'all took the running man, right?
I ain't responsible for that.
They took the running man. They made it something totally different. You're using songs. I'm like, wait, that's for my generation. Now y'all coming, it just don't make sense.
Remember, I played Pump Up the Jam.
It doesn't make sense. But no, even the lingo, there are certain words that we use that now you all are starting. It just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't.
You gotta make it.
No,
we take the word and we just kind of make it whatever.
It just doesn't make sense. But no, in all seriousness, when it comes to, dating and what I said about love, I say this to my children, especially to my teenagers, because the word love is not necessarily just to be thrown around loosely, but I also have to draw back to understand that I once was a teenager. I know what it's like to feel, oh, I like this person, or I love this person, or this person loves me. And the way that I was and the headspace that I was in. And yes, my heart was broken at times, but I want my children, in a sense, to learn from the experiences that I've had so that they don't have to go down that road. However, when I understand how we can overcome these generational barriers, it gets to the place of being able to now communicate, where I share with my children my experiences, right? And not that I got to go so deep. Anyone who knows me, I always say, when you share information, it's not for, well, when I share my testimony, it's not for informational purposes, but it's for transformation, right? And it's to assist and to help. So I share with my children, they know things about my life that some people don't know about me, because I think it's important to be able to open up and share with your children, because if they only look at you as, oh, she that's it. If I had any relationships outside of dad, no, I share with them. This is how I was. These are the things that have happened. Yes, I may have played around and I was with this person, and then turn around, I was with that person, and they looking like, what? But this is where I say I've seen these different types of kinds before.
Yeah, that was one thing.
So being able to be transparent and open with the generation that we would be mentoring.
And now to the younger generation, I think that is good for you to be transparent to the older generation as well, because there's a lot of things, and I'm guilty of this, that we may hide, delete, or let's say keep locked away because we think, I got this, I got this, but you don't got it. I keep it real, you don't got it, bro.
Right. So I have this this question now, because you just stated about transparency. So this is a question that I definitely want to pose. What are some ways in which both the older and younger generations can collaborate, right, to learn from each other's experiences, strengths, and wisdom? Excuse me, because we understand that it just doesn't go one way.
No, if I can, before we ask that question, if I can make kind of like a statement.
Yeah, please.
Now the thing, necessarily with Generation Z and onward, I think that's the one that comes after millennials, or millennials included too, where
yeah, we have it all.
We don't necessarily like that aspect of control, and this is what I mean to say when I say control. Not necessarily where it's like you physically move somebody, but even something as little as advice people can take as control. Where now instead of saying, hey, no, I'm sorry, not now instead of, but now saying, hey, that's not a good idea. My generation can look at it as saying, are you trying to control me? You trying to, the one word, gaslight me? You trying to make me feel different? Or something like that sort, where you're now trying to share your experience and say, hey, I'm just seeing you go down the same road I am, but because of that aspect of, no, I got this, it's mine, I can do this on my own. These people are just trying to control me. They're just trying to take control of my life, when that may not be the case. So, and even for older generations too, where I can maybe help in, let's say, somebody who's older than me with a piece of technology. No, that's not how it works. I got this on my own. I've heard that so many times. And I'm like, all right, you got that.
Well, I think it's because learning something new, and that's something that I wanted to put out there, because I think it's when it comes to change, sometimes with the older generation, I want you all to speak back to me on this. If my older generation, don't leave old school out here kicking it by herself.
See, jokes like that, yeah.
We're jokesters, right? Our house is comedy central. We love to laugh. And I think that is something that keeps the relationships healthy. But it's the change aspect, because we feel like, oh, I got it, and trying to learn something new. Please, step by step by step. Sean will take the computer or the device and he'll swipe it and be like, all right, here you go. No, I want to know how to do it. And I think the generation where we want to connect, I think everything is just fast paced because you're growing up in this technology generation that everything is so fast, and we're like, wait a minute, I'm trying to catch up, adapt, and understand it, but everything is so quick.
That's good. I didn't think about that. Where now we see that everything, because especially even today, I mean, you have things like PayPal, you have things like Amazon, same day shipping. Everything is quick. Everything is just like that. Streaming services, just like that. Prime. Right now, oh yeah, Prime. I mean, that's Amazon shipping, by the way. What is? I said Amazon shipping. You said Prime.
Oh yes, I apologize.
It's okay.
I gotta listen.
I love my mom. No, it's okay. But no, everything is so quick, and so now when we do these quick things where the older generation may be trying to learn from it, and now we have this mindset of, oh, if you're not with the wave, then you're not messing with me, or if you can't keep up, then you're just gonna get left behind. When rather we should take the time and even slow down and show you how to do it. Where there have been even times where I've gone fast myself. My mom was like, wait, no, I don't want you to just do it for me. I want to learn how to do it. And that made me realize, like, oh, okay. I mean, now I have to adjust my pace to help my mom. And
right.
Which also follows under the aspect of people not wanting to change their ways just for help someone else.
That's good. And so on the flip side, wanting to learn instead of doing, where I'm going to take it from my standpoint as a mom, where I was doing everything for my kids. And I'm like, wait, I have to step back, because how will they know how to do if I don't step back? You just talked about that level of control. It may not have always come into the control of, hey, do this, that, and the other. It could just be, okay, well, here you go. Here's your clothes ironed. Here's these different things, where we want to teach you all life skills, because that's what we were taught, right? I was in the laundromat at 11 or 12 years old on a Saturday with my sister washing clothes, right? So we had all of those life skills to know how to take care of your home, how to take care of yourself, how to take care of your home. You're looking at me like,
I'm like, my Saturday was spent building a laundromat in Minecraft. I don't even know what she's talking about.
So you listen to that, right? And so, now we have been doing this whole chefing it up. The kids learning how to cook. They'll cook dinner for one night.
Pasta.
Right? Being able to wash their clothes, doing different things that's going to help assist them. Because, and I have some comments that are out there, but think about it. When I was growing up, we didn't have, half of the things that you all have. I had Atari 2600 with the joystick. And you get outside and you go and play.
I showed her the PS5. She was like, what the heck, is that real?
What is that? It looked like a tower, right? It's going to erect and continue to grow. But we have a comment here. It says, remain teachable no matter the age of the person that it's coming from.
And even for me, like my little brother, he's Generation Alpha. That's like 2013, that's 25. He is younger than me and is teaching me how to play basketball. Like just learning from that alone, like even that's just good. That analogy alone, like it doesn't matter how old somebody is.
Good comment. Thank you.
You can always be taught.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. It doesn't matter who it is coming from. If it is something that can help advance you in any area, being able to receive it. And that's one of the things, where we're going to overcome the different barriers or the cultural divide or the generation divide, is to be able to be teachable from whatever generation, if it's from the younger to the older or the older to the younger, right? I look in our household and we laugh about this because we have every generation except for the baby boomers. I was like coming down the slope on that one, but I made it to Gen X. So we have Gen X. My husband's a millennial. We have my is Angel also
96? So yeah,
he's what is it? I have no clue.
Angel would be
Gen Z,
or maybe a millennial. I think.
Oh, is he a millennial with his dad?
Yeah, no.
Wow.
We love you, Angel.
We love you, Angel. We love you. We love you, babe. And then we have Gen Z, and then we have starting all over again. We have Alpha. Right? So Steven's alpha. So now with our level of communication, that's another thing that I want to talk about here. I don't know if you answered that question because I know you said you wanted to make a statement.
Correct. Now the question, can you repeat, please?
The question is, what are some ways, and I think you did, what are some ways in which older and younger generations can collaborate and learn from each other's experiences and wisdom?
I think that falls under the category of just being teachable, no matter what age you're at, because there's a lot of people that where they kind of dismiss the younger generations because they feel they're younger than me. That just because they don't have that experience, which may be true, they don't have that experience, they don't have that wisdom, but that doesn't mean that they don't have things that they have learned that they can give to you.
That's key because we all have experiences and we all have lessons that we've learned in life, no matter what stage in life that it comes. If it came from the generation, of us, whether, like I stated, the different generations that I just spoke of, baby boomer, Y, Gen Z, millennials, things of that nature, there is something that has been learned that you can teach. You're learning something every day and you come home and you teach me something. I'm saying, wow, that's something that I did not know.
Because also, I forgot what I was going to say. It is a fact that, they don't have as much experience as you. That is true. But what's not true is the fact that their experiences is not useful to you. It is a lot because they're growing up in a different world that you did. So there could be things that they could go to school and come back and learn, and they can tell you. Like just as recent as 2006, Pluto is not a planet anymore. That's one of the biggest changes I think ever, where a whole planet is now not classified as one.
It's not classified.
2000, that was when I was born, by the way, 2006.
I want to post this. It seems like as the generations go on, process is being taken for granted.
That's a good one.
Isn't that good?
That's a great one.
God bless you to whoever wrote that.
Let's talk about that, Facebook user. Love you. Now, I have a quote to start off with that actually, and I think it was actually by you. You said, behind every 15 minutes of fame is 10 years of experience. People now want that quick, I want that quick view. I want that quick 15 minutes of fame. Let's just put it like that because that's what I already said. And that even goes under the fact of everything becoming fast and everything having attention. Where now they see this false representation of all of these rappers or these influencers, flaunting the money and let's be real, having the girls, even doing the drugs sometimes. And they want all of that for themselves, but don't understand that those people's talents took years to build. That they didn't just post one video and get famous. Absolutely. They had to build that.
And you don't know what their experiences were. You don't know what they had to go through. Once they make it into the limelight, you begin to hear like, wow, they were homeless for a year or two, living in their car or didn't have money. No one would take them in. You're like, wow, I didn't know all of that, but you just see the hype. And so they're like, hey, if they can do it, I can do it too.
That's one of my biggest things too, where as an artist, and a lot of people know that about me, but I always, when someone always asks me, do you want to be famous? I say, I want to be famous, but it's not as if I want to be famous for the reason of attention. I want to be famous so I can inspire others and build a legacy. See, I don't want to just be trending. You see, I want to have artwork that's hung up in museums, artwork that can inspire people for generations. So I just feel like that's kind of the old soul part of me. Where it's not as if I want to be that one guy on the trending page for a week. No, I want to have art that's established. Like one of my biggest inspirations, Jean-Michel Basquiat, his art is still being talked about today. And sadly, he's no longer alive. Something like that, where it's like he redefined the neo-expressionism era, and he's still being talked about today. 2023 is amazing.
Absolutely.
For a lot of you out there who don't know Basquiat, just look at the Brooklyn Nets jerseys.
All right.
Just got to make sure. Because I was talking to somebody the other day, and I was like, Jean-Michel Basquiat? They're like, who? I'm like, all right, bro, sit down. We're going to have a little talk.
Oh, that's another thing. We're going to talk. Hey, bruh. Everybody, bruh. Any parents out there, bruh?
Okay. Everybody who does not know bruh, in 2013, it was Vine, back when that was a thing. It wasn't TikTok, it was Vine. And this one, I think, person who was going to the NBA draft that got in trouble, and then he collapses in court and goes, bruh. And that just became a word that a lot of people will use. It's kind of like
The younger
it's
generation.
It's kind of like meh. That's kind of how bruh is.
Okay. Okay, so I want to talk about this part because this is huge for our home, right? Even in your bio that was typed there about spirituality, right? In God, in relationship. And when you talk about now with this generation in church and how it looks, right? And me as a parent of children, of course, my desire is that every one of my children have a relationship with God, that they get to know God on a personal level for themselves. But there was a time, it's just like, okay, come on, get up, go to church. That was our routine because being a pastor, you figure, okay, your whole family is going. But I also want you to speak transparently, right? That it comes a point in time that, yes, you're bringing your children along and you're teaching your children the right way and the structure of things and the relationship, but they're having and developing their own experiences through observation, right? And so, although in the house we're saying we're teaching them and we're instructing them, we're leading them, we're guiding them, right? We're training you up. But when they enter into the house of the Lord or they engage with others, they're forming their own opinions of what Christianity is, whatever religion you may be a part of or spiritual foundation that you have. They're developing their own experience. So now when we get to that, someone, again, one of our viewers said, why do I have to attend? And they start asking the different questions because it doesn't look like the generation that we grew up. This is what we did. We went to church.
I can be a little transparent here. Not to say that I wasn't before, but I mean, I was a kid. Not I was, but I was younger. I was younger, and I remember asking my father the same question. I was like, "Why do we have to go to church?" And he was saying, "If you don't want to go to church, you don't have to go to church." And there was a point in my life where, yeah, I didn't. I stayed home when everybody would go. I would say, "Hey, I don't even think that this is for me." But really, what it takes is experience. It takes that connection with God. It takes that connection to the Word to make you now pursue not just the religion of Christianity, but just the connection with God Himself. Where now I kind of sought that for myself. I started watching my father's sermons now, not just as a kid saying, when is this over and we can get McDonald's, but saying like, I relate to this. This actually goes on in my life. I begin to pray. I begin to, just have those sessions. I remember even what's his name? Travis Green. For all of you who know him, I started listening to The Hill. I think I downloaded it on my phone whenever I go into school, just the bus ride, listening to that, and getting myself in the mindset of, this is the connection that I want to have with God. It's not my parents saying, "Oh, we got to get up and go to church." This is the connection that now I genuinely have. And in this generation, it seems as if a lot of us Christians are kind of suppressed. And what I mean by that is,
Yeah, I was going to say, elaborate, please.
What I mean by that is, I feel like a lot of things in today's society are more so built of a fleshly nature rather than God. I mean, for example, a lot of people know the rapper Lil Nas X and a lot of his, let's say, satanic imagery in certain videos that he may have, or the Sam Smith, I think, infamous performance in which he was the devil and a lot of demons were surrounding him. And it feels as if now that's becoming something that's a norm. These are getting a lot of likes. These are getting a lot of followers where people are saying, yeah, that looks so cool, without actually knowing the meaning behind what it's doing. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that connection with God now needs to be established by everybody. While it's unrealistic, it should be, so that they understand now what they're partaking of. They understand now what they're viewing or what they're liking or commenting on and supporting.
So would you, I'm going to ask this question. Would you say that and I'll comment and respond on my end, but do you think that there is a pull, or what is the word I want to use?
Disconnect.
Not even a disconnect. Oh, I can't think of the word, and my apologies for that.
Separation. Where
it feels as if a combativeness, in a sense, that I'm not going to church. I don't. Mm-hmm.
Adversity.
Yeah, it could be that and I know you're trying to help
I
me
know
out, fish
my
for
dad
words.
called me vocabulary.
Definitely vocabulary. But where the younger generation may feel like I don't necessarily have to do all that the generation has done. I know God. God is in my heart. I don't have to do. Someone said rebellion. That I don't have to.
That's a good. That
Right? I don't have to. You're God. I don't want that. I don't want to go to church. I don't want to hear the sermon. I don't want to hear preaching being preached to. I just don't want it. I just want to live my life. I have time. It's almost like I have time, opposition. Thank you. Thank you. Yep, that's the word right there, Sharice. That there is this opposition that is there. I have time. And they know in the household, and I'm gonna speak, this is not religion, it's not being super spiritual, but I say that in this time that the enemy is priming our youth, right? Priming our youth through the video games, priming our youth more so with,
music is a big one.
With the music and with pornography, right? The lust. You have all of these different things that the enemy is priming our children with. And guess what? Here we have this divide between generations to be able to now bridge this gap that the enemy can't wedge his way in and say, oh, nobody's covering them. I want to say this real quick. Nobody's covering them because this older generation over the younger generation, all we're doing is complaining. So we're dumping complaints on the younger generation as opposed to truly praying, speaking life, and trying to direct. And that's where the communication come in.
I'm gonna go with that comment right there. Why do you think people are more vulnerable now than maybe before? And I think that goes with the same thing of attention, where people now say, hey, and this isn't not just from the people I've talked to, this is just from the things that I see even in the news, where people now sadly will be going to even be instances of people getting, let's say, like groomed by older men or being taken advantage of by their own peers just because, hey, they're paying me a little attention, they're talking to me, he says he loves me, he says he wants to get things for me. And now that vulnerability now just kind of remains a staple of their personality, where now they're saying, hey, I'll tell you all about myself as long as you would listen to me in return. Where where this generation, not just this generation, but even people in general, are saying now, oh, I can have these people talk to me because they're interested in what I'm saying, when in reality they're only interested in something else. Let's put it like that.
Yeah, that's good about the attention. But there are a lot of voids that are there as well. You think about it, it goes deeper. And I get we may have experienced some of these things in the older generation, but there are some single parent households. The attention is not there, right? The parent may be out of the home working and they're looking for someone to give them that attention. And you have it from any platform. I find that your Instagrams, your Instagrams, your Snapchats, your TikTok, real quick, DMs and things of that sort.
Like I know, if I can interject very quickly, I know a lot of one of my friends uses that as a coping strategy, where whenever they kind of feel as if their life is low or they feel as if they're not getting enough, I'll make a quick post. Doesn't matter what it is about themselves. Where now they're kind of showing off themselves, or they're giving things that are necessarily personal just for a reaction out of people because it means, oh, you're looking at me. Yeah. And it's just a little sad.
And so I see that I have a comment here, like, John Morant. We have a lot of celebrities that are out there.
Great men, great people.
Yeah.
Very, 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 for lack of a better term, stupid decisions.
Yeah, make stupid decisions. But you have a lot of the younger children that, again, are looking up from every generation.
Yes.
And I know I keep saying from every generation because I want us to realize we're not as different.
Divided, no.
We're not as different as we have made it to be. I like to say, what I hear so much within this generation, from my generation per se, is, oh, this generation, they just don't listen. This generation, I tell you, they just do what they want to do. This generation, they're not God-fearing. This generation, and that again is the trick of the enemy.
Like they say, it's history repeats itself. Same stuff, different story. Like everything that we're going through. Right now, it may be Instagram and TikTok, but before it might have just been socializing in the school. What are you doing now to get popular?
Yeah. So I want to talk about another challenge, and we have some time here, where we talked about communication style. We talked about technology divide, but we're going to talk about these communication styles. And I think sometimes we deal with that. We sure didn't listen.
Should we
listen? I got to put that up there. We sure didn't. And this is where I say that every generation have dealt with something. And so we cannot forget from where we've come from. And that should cause us to be a little bit more related to this newer generation. But communication styles, the younger and older generations, right? We may have different communication styles. I think about how many parents out there, you send your child a message. Like, I'll do paragraphs. And it's so funny because we could be in a group chat and they're like, I know dad. There he is right there. Too funny, right? Yeah. And I will leave like a paragraph. They're like, I know that's mom. And dad may just have one liner. And you'll get back something like this.
Thumbs up. Got you. Like the message. That's what they say.
Or like the message. And for us Samsung users at the beginning, Apple user, what picture are you liking?
Yeah, that's one of the most repeated texts from my mom. She's like, what did you like?
Yeah, what picture did you like? So I'm sitting there saying, I cannot get with this. Just say, I like picture 1, I like picture 2.
You could just buy an iPhone. We don't want to get into that.
I'm not crossing over.
We don't want to get into that.
I'm not crossing over. So we, in our generation, let's just say, we may prefer the face-to-face, conversations, the traditional form of communication, where the younger generation say, I'm cool with a text.
No. I prefer face-to-face.
You prefer face-to-face talk?
Yeah, I do.
Thank you.
Like, I know there's certain texts that I'm missing, but the reason that I'm so kind of dry with them is because I'd rather get on the phone and talk. I just feel like you can convey tones more accurately that way. Where when you put a message of text, it could just be like, I'm doing good today. But no, I had the greatest day. Like today we went out, we had ice cream, and you don't really get that through a line of text.
And emojis can't really express how you are feeling. They really can't. You like,
oh yeah, because people not. Another thing about redefining is people use crying emojis as laughing emojis. Or people use skull emojis as laughing emojis.
Right. And for me, anybody who knows me, yes, I do paragraphs, but I auto text. I will send you an auto recording in a minute. Hi, how are you? Because I want you to hear. I may not be able to call you in that moment, but they know.
It's so funny. She'd be like, Sean, I'll be like, well, clear your voicemail box.
Yes.
And I'm like, it's all full of you.
And so I will send the kids messages in the morning. God bless you. I love you. Have a great day, or whatever it is, because I want you to hear my voice. Right. And so that's one thing I have to say. Yes, you like to converse face to face or FaceTime or through telephone as opposed to texting.
I love the invention of FaceTime.
Hey, whoever said, hey, y'all, hey.
Yo.
And so also, like I stated, we have different views, right? We have different things that we grew up with. And I want to hit this real quick for my parents out there. In the day of me growing up, it was, you do as I say and not as I do. Or the biggest one, because I said so, right? We can't hit that anymore. That is done away with.
I'm gonna hit you with a why.
Am I right? So with this generation, they want to know why. It's not just because I said so. It's not because do as I say, not as I do. No, they want to know. And it is up to us to teach them, because guess what? We're going to be passing the torch to them. We're going to be passing legacy to them. And so we want to be able to fully communicate.
Because I'm not going to lie, if you say, just because I said so, then they're going to find out why for themselves. Rather than you just
say that one more time.
If you say because I said so, they're going to find out the actual reason why for themselves. That's why sometimes instead of saying because I said so, it's good to tell them why.
That's good.
It's like, oh, why don't I put a fork in the microwave? Because I said so. No, you don't put it in the microwave because it's going to explode.
Absolutely. There you go. I tell you, I love you, son. Technology has limited and taken away formal face-to-face communication for some youth. That is so true. You know, think of it like this. And I said this, I used to do posts within the Women Develop Growth Network. And every Friday, I used to do these Friday funnies. And I said, if I send you a text, don't pick up the phone and call me, text me, right? But you can put a call through. There's no answer, but they'll send you a text back because it has given them the option to not have to have that face-to-face.
That is true. That is true. I cannot number the countless times I have sent somebody a FaceTime request or I've called them and I hit you with no, bro, just text me. What's up? I'm like, it's not the same.
It's not the same.
It's not the same.
Amen. That's good. I want to, right here. Exactly. We have to express to our youth some things we have gone through to break generational curses. And this is why we are also doing what it is that we're doing now. Because I realize now, I want you to understand something. We're not bashing one generation over the other because every generation is necessary. Our parents did the best that they could. So now that we are in the seat, or hey, you may still be out there as a baby boomer and you have children, that are still, you can still rectify.
Some of mine are entering the seat right now.
Right? And to communicate, you know, the different thoughts that you had, you know, growing up and being able to have mature conversations. And we're going to give you, you know, some ways as to how you can overcome. But when we realize that, hey, they did the best that they could. God said something to me, and this is my transparent moment. I'm in my prayer room, and I think this was, as a matter of fact, either earlier this week or the end of last week. And he said it to me again, and he said it to me before, but I was like, good Lord. He said, you talk too much.
Dang. I'm sorry. I didn't know God was like.
See, they don't think God talks to his children like that. Do God speak to anyone like that real upfront, or he says, my child?
He said, I asked for a prayer, not a speech.
No, not like that. See, you didn't even let me finish. He said
I'm sorry.
No, he loves to hear my voice. Stop.
Amen.
Yeah, so you probably hear me through the wall.
It was just a little,
right?
I was going to say a little Friday funny. I forgot what it was.
But in all seriousness, he said you talk too much. And that was to the kids, because we're constantly, okay, do this, pick this up, take this out. Did you do your homework? I told you, oh my goodness, how many times do you have to, did you do your homework? Did you do your homework? Did you do your homework? I told you to get your homework done. He said, you talk too much.
I got my homework done, by the way.
Yes, his homework is done. But I am just like, oh, yeah, you're right. I do talk too much. Dang. It's almost like replay.
I'm sorry. It's just.
God knows how to get the attention of his children. God speaks to us, right? God speaks to us the way he knows that we will receive it. Absolutely. And so I want to go back to this real quick. And so I realized there was a time for me, it was just talking. And I went back into certain things in my own life. Like I said, our parents do the best that they could. Especially we had single parents in the household with girls. They want to make sure, like my mom, want to make sure that my girls are being raised right, that they're not going to be out in the streets and they're not going to be. So my mom was a tough mom.
I think that's one of the biggest concerns that I have too. It comes time for me to even have my own children, just the world that they're growing up in.
Right.
Like I wouldn't want my daughter to now scroll through Instagram and have unrealistic beauty standards, thinking that she looks ugly just because somebody else is augmenting their face in an unrealistic way.
Absolutely. And so I said, you know what? But there's a certain way to speak. There's a certain way to relay certain things. And so I wasn't necessarily relaying to my children based off of how I really was feeling emotionally, to share with them, hey, I want you to succeed. I want you to advance in life, as opposed to saying something like, man, if you don't get this done, how you gonna go to college? How you gonna do this? How you gonna? It's like, wait, hold up. Now you have to check yourself. You have to realize that there are times that, we have to share our own story as to why we are doing some of the things that we're doing. It's about breaking those strongholds, believe it or not just off our children, but from ourselves, that it does not pass further beyond what's sitting right here. And to be able to correct these things so that your grandchildren, your great grandchildren, and the list goes on, do not have to deal with it. So we definitely have to express to our youth many of the things that we have gone through. Because one thing I said, if we can't get to that point of connection, how are we going to correctly pass on a legacy? Right? Here we go. We have another thing here. Some kids need to listen more and open up to their parents about anything. Good communication. Ooh, go ahead.
I hit that. I used to be one of those kids. I'm not gonna lie, where I held everything because, like I said, I felt like I had it. But the more that I even just heard my parents talk about their past experiences and how to overcome them as well, I started opening up more because it made me realize that I'm not alone. There are people before me that have made the same mistakes that I could make or that I did make.
Mhm.
And they know how to not only get out of that mistake, but how to recover from it too.
That's good.
So my message now to all the ones of my generation is, I know it may seem a little awkward to talk about certain topics with your parents, or it may seem like, oh no, it's okay, everything's under control. But don't lie to yourself. If it's not under control, you have people you can open up to. You have your parents. You have aunts and uncles even that have been through the same experiences. Utilize that. Utilize their experiences and their wisdom to help you with your current situation, so you don't end up going down some of the paths that they may have.
Absolutely.
I mean, to making light of a bad situation, sometimes then going through that isn't always a bad thing, because it can help you. It can help prevent you from going down the same way.
Absolutely. And it's just being open, honest. I always say, in order to get to help, you have to know that you need it, right? You have to be able to open up and be truthful in any situation. Like, we talk about all types of things. Yes, even sex. Being a Christian, many times it's like, oh no, you don't talk about, but if we don't speak about it and you said something, it's almost like, because I said so, you're going to start searching, you're going to start looking, you're going to try to find, certain things out about different things. So if you can't talk about sex, if you can't talk about drugs, if you can't talk about, girls, boys, just anything, everything should be open in a manner of respect. Right? Do we agree with that? I know we're drawing to the close. I think tonight has been very, very, very good. Did y'all enjoy tonight?
I enjoyed.
Let me see you in the chat. Did you enjoy tonight? Also, someone said here that also negates wrong perspective / perception from taking place because of assumptions. Yeah, sometimes we assume that we think we know, and we don't always know. We were just talking about what are some of the misconceptions that the younger generation may have over the older generation, or the older generation over the younger. And I'm going to say, from my end, that a big misconception of the older generations to the younger is that they're not listening, right? They're not hearing anything that we're saying. They're just doing what they want to do. I was one of those who said, oh, they're not listening, for my own kids. Say, for instance, and I'm going to use this example, in church. I'm like, and they're not listening, like, turn around. Look at and after the service, I'm like, did you hear anything? Almost verbatim. I said, wow, shut my mouth right there. You talk too much, right? If I can just allow them, and this is one thing I want to say to every generation that is out there, that God did it for us and he'll do it for the next generation. Every generation that passes through, there is another generation. And God is still the same God yesterday, today, and forevermore. And if I have gone through some things in my own life and I say, man, I thank you, God, for hearing me. I thank you for loving me. I thank you for cleansing me, for putting my feet truly on a path that is straight. Thank you for ordering my footsteps. And these are the words that we have to release over the next generation. Not that, oh, y'all don't listen. Oh, this generation is messed up. Oh my goodness, I'm concerned about what the world is going to be because this generation. Let us make some declarations out there and declare who God is and the children that we are speaking into and who they are in the kingdom of God. Let us change our narrative. So how do we overcome the barriers that we have generationally? We have to seek to understand, not necessarily seek to be heard.
Amen. Amen. And another thing I think a lot of the older and younger generations need to do is avoiding stereotypes as well. Just saying that, oh, because he may, let's say, have his hood up, or he may be sitting back like this, that he's not listening. Or that because of the way that they may be acting, that oh nah, they don't value what they have. Sometimes they just may be having a bad day, or sometimes they just have something that they want to talk about, but because there's no push to say, hey, are you okay? It's a nah, you're just going through something, or it's a you'll get over it. It's just some girl. You're just in high school. That's one of the ones that I've always heard.
It's puppy love.
Yeah, sure,
Right.
yeah. And I'm thinking to myself like, hey, it may just be in high school, but it still matters to me.
Yes.
And that's one thing that a lot of parents also have to learn for their kids, that, yeah, sure, they may be young, but that doesn't take away their feelings.
That's true. That is absolutely true. In avoiding those stereotypes, that you're young, you don't know anything about love, you don't know anything about anything. But no, you have those experiences. And I like to say, being a parent to teenagers have taught me a lot, that I've sat back and just truly needed to understand, right? I listened to understand, and had to really close my mouth on certain things because I realized this is an experience that they're in, right? And so somebody said, I love this right here also, there are some times, whether they're listening or not, but the latter part that they will have to learn. We all learn it at different stages. Sometimes, hey, we learn after 2, 3, 4, 5 times, but yet and still, again, God's grace.
Just offering that, what's it called, that space to be able to talk. They may not always accept. That's one thing that we didn't really mention. They may not always come to you. They may still hide things from you. And that comment was right. At least you offered yourself, and at least you are open to say, hey, you can talk to me about anything. Now it's up to them to make that choice to say if they want to talk.
Absolutely. And there has to be a mutual respect. That is another way that we overcome these generational barriers, is having that mutual respect and understanding that although you may have a different view, a different way of seeing things, still be able to be open enough to have that respect for that person of a different generation, right? Because we all have different, beliefs, but yet and still we can, come together and have some form of unity. I always think of this, and that is the golden rule. Do unto others as you will have them do unto you. You know, I teach you guys that all the time,
Yeah.
right? Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So if you want respect, also give that respect, right? And then one of the last things is being able to mentor and then to be mentored, right? We want to share again our knowledge, want to share our wisdom, share our strengths. So being mentored and then being the mentor, being able to share and to put out your experiences, not the heartaches and the pains, but the true valuable jewels, the true valuable lessons that you've learned in the process.
Don't just let the way that you talk to your child become a dumping of all the feelings that you have, but really take those moments where you learned and let them know what you learned.
Absolutely.
Because that is also another thing too, where you don't want to just become and then this happened with me and Joey in 8th grade, and oh my God, now it was so bad. But no, let them know, like, hey, this is something that happened to me, and I see the same thing going with you, and I just don't want the same thing to happen to you. You know?
Absolutely. Woo! Thank you so much. Look, we got Michelle out there tonight. She is going to be our last speaker. My last, when I say speaker, my guest co-host. Yes, but she's a speaker. She's awesome. She is fire. Come on, yes, speaking life and the promises of God over our kids and their generation. We have to speak life. It is so important because if we're not doing it, trust me, there are words being released right now as I speak over this generation. There are words that are being released right now over our children. So we have to declare the word of the Lord over them. I understand you can be frustrated. I understand that you could have said it 100,000 times, but let me tell you something. God is faithful. And God sees, God hears, God knows. Do not be weary in your well-doing. Continue to press, continue to persevere, continue to stay on the wall and pray. Continue, because I'm telling you, you're going to see the promises of God manifest. And that's one thing that I'm encouraged to know. Like, my son here is 16. He's going to be 17 in July. There is going to come a point in time, and I shared this with him. I said, son, not out of the disrespect, but I said, there will come a time that my voice per se is not necessarily going to matter. Now, it doesn't mean that you're going to stray away from the things and the values and all of the things that you were taught, right, growing up. But there'll come a point in time that God's voice is going to take precedence over everything else, because I may be able to say something to you, to say, hey, Sean, I believe this is best for you. This is what you should do. But then God comes in and he ministers to your heart because you have a relationship with him. Guess what? He trumps my card. So this is where we're leading our generation to have a relationship with God, to hear God's voice, and that as they walk, they know that they're secure, that no matter what goes on in the world, it will fall to the wayside, because everything will fall except for the word of God. And so that's what I stand on. So I speak and I declare a word to every generation that is out there, older and younger, that we get to the point to collaborate with one another, that we walk in unity, that the legacy that God desires for us to leave and to pass on, that it will not be disturbed because we are speaking things out of our mouth that God say be quiet on. Now, this is a word that came to me, but God has called me to release it, because what God desires to do in the generation, that what the enemy is scheming, the strategies that he is planning, that it will be brought to naught. Don't allow the enemy to use the blessed speech. Hallelujah. The blessed speech that God has given you. This generation is not lost. I declare that the word of the Lord is still active, that every word that God has released and purpose for your life, that it shall have a maturity date, that it will not return to him void. So you continue to persevere and trust that God's word will never fail.
Amen.
Amen. Sean, is there any words that you would like to say to our audience before we exit?
To my younger people, my peers, I just want to say, utilize the experiences that your parents have gone through I mean, just listening to my mother and father and hearing the words of wisdom that they have for me has truly helped me in my own life. Second thing is, I understand, trust me, that attention is great, but don't sacrifice yourself just for it. You know, couple likes may be good. Maybe let's say hitting 100,000 may feel great, but in the long run, protect yourself. You don't want to be too vulnerable. You don't want to put your personal life out there, or even put your life in danger just for a couple likes. I mean, shift your motive from having your 15 minutes of fame to building your craft to build a legacy. That's kind of how I do it. To my older generation, I just want to say, connect with your kids more. But in a non-joking sense, check up on them. You know, it may seem like, I know one comment said, but sometimes they don't listen, but at least offer that safe space to say, hey, I understand that I'm your parent and it may seem a little awkward, but if there's anything that you want to talk about, I'm here to listen to you. You know, just and recognizing that while, yeah, they may be younger and it may be puppy love, or it may just be something that they'll go through and get out of it, they still have feelings for that. They still have feelings that go on within themselves, that if they bottle that up, it could become potentially worse.
Absolutely. Well, I pray that you all were blessed tonight in this episode, that you got some great nuggets, some gems that was, dropped on tonight. I was blessed. And son, I want to say this, publicly. I'm very proud of you. And I'm very grateful for the different experiences that God has allowed you to have. And I want to say this, at the age of 14, Sean had moved to another state. He was a part of a program. And being a part of that program, he had to be away from home. And it was challenging for the whole family because for me, I miss my son. But I knew that God was leading him down a path that God had to really show him who he was. And I said to Sean that I'm not gonna hinder your move. I said, you won't fall in the gutter. You remember that time I said, your dad and I will be like bumpers on the side. You'll go down that lane. Whatever it is that God has for you, he has for you. Yes, he is back home, but that was a decision that he and God made. He came to, my husband and myself, this is what God is leading me into. And I said, okay, well, go to sleep, come back the next day.
Yeah, that's what you said.
Right, come back the next day.
Let me know what he says.
Right, let him know what he says. But when I tell you how God had structured even the transition of being back home, and I said, nobody could do it but God. And God had to remind me, and I shared this with Sean, that the world will look at things as being incomplete. But when we do things according to the will of God, it may look incomplete to others, but it's finished in the eyes of God, and he starts us into a new season. And so as God transitioned, Sean, I like to say, God has been just blowing his mind in different areas. And I say, harness that. Trust God at his word. If God can do it for you then, and he does it for you again, he'll do it for you all the time. So I'm proud of you, son.
Thank you. Thank you.
And thank you for being here. God bless you. God bless you. We have, before we get off, I just want to acknowledge the people that I see. Honey, I see you out there.
Okay.
I see Lisa. God bless you. I see Sharice. I see Robert. I see Jeanette. I see Michelle. I also see, wait a minute, I thought I saw out there Sly Boogie, Sylvester, and I see Tania. God bless you to all of the Facebook users out there, everyone who has tuned in. Please do not forget to share this video and subscribe to the channel. We have one more episode 8 within this season that is coming on Wednesday, May the 31st. We're going to have none other than Michelle Roderick. She started us off with being my guest co-host, and she's going to end off with me being my guest co-host. And we're going to be talking about rebuilding your life after experiencing hardships. Now, you do not want to miss that ending episode. So please come on back. Wednesday, May 31st, we're going to have some more jewels and gems and some fire bombs. Boom. I tell you, Michelle, bombshell. So you want to come on back and join us. So please stay tuned. Hi, Shayna. My baby girl is joining us. God bless you. Oh, my cousins. Lamar, God bless you. Queen City Film Festival. We bless you. We bless God for each and every one of you. So again, subscribe to the channel and share this video. Please stay tuned for some announcements, and we'll see you real soon. God bless you.